everybody, I am Crystal Clear 101. Welcome back to my channel. We have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy review. This is one I'm actually rather excited about, but this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows Kraang. Now, this figure was released in late March of 2016. Now, he has a general release. His suggested retail is $8.99. Now, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Now, obviously, this is the sequel to the first Ninja Turtles movie, came out 2 years ago. And this, just from the trailers I've been seeing, this one looks like it's going to be very promising. Especially some of the characters they're introducing. But let's look at the packaging first. First off, we have our generic shot of all 4 turtles up here. We have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows movie logo here, along with the Nickelodeon logo. Name of the character right here. Of the first wave figures, the first figures come out of this movie line, this is the one I gravitated towards the most, was Kraang. This is the one that really got my attention. Now, on the reverse side, we have the same shot of all 4 turtles, the movie logo up here with the Nickelodeon logo, and this brief little tagline for the movie, which reads, "New York City, an old menace returns. New mutations arise, the ultimate showdown approaches. Our heroes must rise up again to save the city they love, even if it means exposing themselves for who they truly are. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles." And we have all the figures that are available for this particular wave. A bunch of these I'm really excited about. Some of these, not so much. Mainly Shredder. As much as that disappoints me. But, and it says down here, more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just saying more characters. But that is it for the packaging. Without further ado, let's go ahead and open up Kraang. And let's see how interesting this figure is. And now that we got Kraang out, let's take a better look at the figures. First off, let's start off with Kraang's body. Little 360 on the body. And now let's look at Kraang himself. And now, before I give my impressions about Kraang, let me just go ahead and show a little something that actually has me excited. First off, the little booklet, I guess you'd call it, that comes standard with most of these figures. Of course, it lists basic figures, cycles with figures, so there's 4 vehicles. I've seen these. I'm actually really wanting to get the Bebop and Rocksteady motorcycle set, since I know they're seen on motorcycles, at least in the movie. I hope the Turtles have cycles in the movie. Now, also, deluxe talking figures, giant 11-inch figures. Let's see, Leonardo saying, "We're turtles, whether you like it or not. Let's bring the ruckus. We can work with that. Who's the man? I'm the man. I need to run a more thorough analysis. And it's time to get mean on the scene." God, that one was cheesy. Now, the part that has me excited. Let's see. Not these, not this. That's got me excited. That has me very excited. The fact there is a techno drone. And a city sewer layer playset over 40 inches tall. All 3 of these actually have me excited. Because that, to me, actually looks cool for a vehicle. That looks very cool. The fact there's going to be an actual techno drone, that's got me psyched. The fact there's going to be a techno drone. But I figured I'd show that little tidbit right there. Now, as for my initial impressions about the figure, now before I start with the body, let me start with Kraang. Now, first off, as you can see, he's done up in a pink color. He looks very much like a brain with tentacles. Now, the inside of him is hollow. He is a very soft and squishy material. Now, I don't have the Krang from the Nickelodeon TV series, but this basically looks like an upsized version of that Krang. But the detail on him overall is very good. I do like the detail they did put on the Krang itself. The eyes itself, they look good. The little smirk, I guess you can call it, right there. I mean, overall, I like the way the Krang itself is done. As for his actual android body, there's some things I like and don't like about the body. If I had to give any complaints about his body, it's just that to me, his body seems really bland, color-wise. It just seems like blah. That is my primary complaint. I mean, I just would love to see some paint decos on this. Because to me, adding some extra paint details to this would make this thing just pop. It would. Aside from that, some of the sculpted work on it does look good. I mean, you can make down lines, looks like some rivets, some bolts, stuff like that. Some detail in the arms, the legs, where it looks like they're supposed to be muscle. The head, the head is probably the one thing I really do like about this. Is just the way that face sculpt looks. And something else I found mildly amusing looking at this, as you can see just from the head sculpt itself, you see there's a very defined nose on him. And turn up, how he actually does have nostrils. I find that rather amusing. But the one thing I actually really like about this body is, to me, this looks reminiscent of his original body from the 80s cartoon series. To me, this just looks cool. I just would love to see some paint decos on this. Is articulation, I would put like halfway. On the downside, he does not swing out at the shoulders. It's just a swivel. There's no hinge to go with it. Adding an extra layer of movement. And in the case of his left arm, his elbow is just on a swivel. That's all it is. His head is on a swivel. The legs themselves actually have good articulation. The right arm, for me, is halfway decent. Because they do have a ball hinge for the elbow, so he's able to turn at the elbow, so they actually got something halfway right. But at the same time, it's just a swivel. That's like my primary complaint is some of his articulation. I wish they would have just gave him ball hinges for the shoulders and ball hinges for the elbows. As far as a swivel at the wrist, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm really not. But I'm glad they did give him the swivel hinge at the hips, swivel hinge at the knees. I'm glad they did give him some articulation. If I had to give another one, now in the movie, I'm not too terribly sure how tall he's really supposed to be. But I'm used to Krang, especially in the android body, being a fairly tall character overall. And to me, this looks like it'd be just a wee bit too short, like the size of a normal human. But whether he's going to be that tall in the movie or not, I don't know, so I can't really judge. But those are just my overall impressions. Now, he does have this little cavity right here to actually put the Krang figure. Now, I will say just getting him in here, for me, is a bit of a trick. Because there's no way to actually open up the body itself. You have to cram him through this little hole. Now, let me see how well I can get him in there. This is like the one thing I do find a little bit annoying about this Krang. Is the fact you have to actually jam him in there. Let's see. And when I put him in there, I generally try to stuff some of his tentacles in there. Try and make it a little bit easier. Put him to the side, put him through the sides, either side. And the fact you can still have him inside the body, I think is still pretty neat. Now, alright, there we go. I've been able to get him in there better than that, but just put him in there. It's a tight fit. I will say it is a tight fit. If I had to give another thing, I just wish there would have been like a little flap right back here, like a hinge back here where you open them and put them in. I just wish you couldn't be able to put a flap in it. Which to me would have been able to not only make it easier to put them in here, but probably would have made them look better as far as putting them in there goes. But just the fact we're getting a Krang for the movie, I think this looks pretty sweet. Overall, to me, he's an alright figure. My primary complaints really is lack of paint details, which makes the figure look very bland. Some of his articulation, and honestly, just no real way to get Krang put in here good. But aside from that, we're getting a old school style Krang, which is very nice. He does have some halfway decent articulation. The sculpt overall, especially in the head, is very good. I even like the fact he does have his little suspender looking deal across the shoulders. Overall, he's not a bad figure. Put it this way, if you're a fan of Krang, you'll probably like this. If you're looking for more articulation out of a figure, you might be disappointed. But overall, he's actually not that bad. I mean, if you make your expectations reasonable on him, then I think you'll like him. But I just wish he would have had more paint decos and a little bit more articulation. That's really it. I'm really more complaining about his lack of paint details more than anything. Because without some paint decos, the figure just looks bland. He's good, but he just looks bland. And in my opinion, this is probably one of the cooler figures from this wave so far. So, short and simple, if you liked him, pick him up. You will not be disappointed. And he will make for a very nice addition to any Ninja Turtles collection. And on top of that, it's Krang. It's like the old school Krang. What's not to love? But this will wrap up my review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows Kraang. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.